It is hilarious. It can write, if you give it the right prompts, it can write stuff that is so funny. And where does that come from? How does it have the capacity to understand? Because humor involves metaphors and sophistication and humanity. How can it do that?
Yeah, so this gets to this idea of how it's trained. So basically, what these systems are is they're basically the accumulation of human knowledge over time. Sort of, and by the way, most of the training data is just literally the internet, right? So one of the reasons that this is happening now and not 20 years ago is because the internet finally got big enough, that just the web finally got big enough to have like all this information in it, right? And so if you go out on the internet today, you can find, all kinds of written material online. That's, you can find like, classic screenplays from, the golden age of cinema for 100 years ago. You can find, literally, people joking with each other on social media all day long. You can find, professional comedians doing oral histories of, how they did great comedy. So there's just like, there's incredible amounts of information that are online about comedy and about what's funny. And then all of that information is in the training data. So it's all kind of fed into the AI during the training process. And the AI basically processes it through like any other kind of data and comes out the other end and just basically is like, now the AI is a world-class expert in humor, right? And of course, look, you could be an expert in humor and not actually be funny, right? And they're I don't know, probably professors of comedy or something like that in colleges who aren't very funny. But like it knows so much about what humor is. It knows so much about the pattern of jokes. It knows so much about what make people laugh. It has so many examples, to be able to learn from. And the professional comedians will tell you there are patterns to comedy, right? There are. I worked with a professional comedian once on something, and he said, the key to it is specificity. Like you to just like nail the reference. Another comedian will say the key is, timing or pacing or the callback to the previous joke or whatever, the punchline, whatever it is. And so it knows all that, and then it's just it's now so powerful that it's actually able. Yeah, I quite honestly I find, especially at like 2 a.m, I find these things hysterical.